I'm lit as ice is cold. If you don't like me, you don't like gold. Yeah, I'm lit as ice is cold. If you don't like me, you don't like gold. Everybody in the game want the crown. I don't want the crown, I wanna reign in the crowd. I wanna rain in the plow. I wanna harvest this hard work straight out of the ground. Lot of poverty, bars closed and vacant in towns. Cities are not close, cases don't get close. Northern Nevada where the venomous spit flows. Got stabbed once and hit much more. I went hobo, loco, shit bro. I ain't go no further than this though. This song on this day, here at this show. I live in the moment in order for it to exist. So I'll die for the movement that took me in as a kid, oh. I'm lit as ice is cold. If you don't like me, you don't like gold. Yeah, I'm lit as ice is cold. If you don't like me, you don't like gold. Pull up in a gray beam, 4 bowls deep with a vape stink. Mid rolls until we out a pape screen. Is always on deck. I'm a living car wreck. Protect your neck or I'll vamp out at your necks. Coast to coast, I'll live in a car yet. Roast to roast, do we know who they are yet? Nothing's ever been safe, birth to man's death. The miracle rapper, hero of the West. I'm lit as ice is cold. If you don't like me, you don't like gold. Yeah, I'm lit as ice is cold. If you don't like me, you don't like gold. I'm lit as ice is cold. If you don't like me, you don't like gold. Yeah, I'm lit as ice is cold. If you don't like me, you don't like gold.
I told you I'm a motherfucking guy. If I don't do my job, I might have to get the mop. Yeah, I got girls on my line. If they say the word, I'ma take them to the top. Hey, happy birthday to me. I'm 20 years old, still got a place to be. We gon' ball till it's over, pass the beat on me. Got a team, sucker punch, kick a nigga in the face, Bruce Lee. New me, looking at the old me, like these niggas knew me. Ballin' like I'm Kobe, OB, I am the one with the hose be. Take a bad girl, then I turn into low me. No, you can't chill with the crew, no means no. Feeling like the go, filled with the ego, that's worse, no hope. Low bro, get down, low. Go up, never come down, fuck pogo. Can't fuck with hate, cause I will be a bozo.
Yeah, I see him looking like a bozo, while I'm over here huffing gold dust. About to sneeze $1 billion. I have only gotten hotter and hotter. Melted gold cascading through shipwreck, lower deck. Fire on my name from start to end. I like gold, I'm like gold. When I swing, I strike gold. When I sing, I break mold. In the coldest place where I stay coldest. So, call me the prospector. No time for lecture. 5-finger impression. Sucker punch, smash mouth. This that fucking East Coast, Mid-South. No fucking doubts. Read the Telegraph.
Hello. Hey, Trixie, can't hear you on stream.
I forgot to unmute my microphone after the song. No.
Oh.
Hello, everybody. Well, that's perfect. You were just listening to Light Gold by Sucker Punch, an amazing song from our new Telegraphing EP. And hopefully you just skipped right over the silence when you went, what's going on here? Why is there no audio in between this song and the start of the show? Well, this is the Moé The Guro show. Hold on to your heads, everybody. It's a live stream show in which I go over various topics that have been on my mind lately that I haven't been able to compartmentalize down into a coherent video script. On today's show, I'll be going over my unifying media theory of the Moé The Guro, discussing the concept of BPD music, introducing my recent work with the supergroup SUCKERPUNCH, and premiering the latest song from our upcoming Telegraphing EP. And lastly, I'll be going on a big rant about all of the hilarious cope that I see online over people not wanting to call characters trans. In between parts of all these rants, I'll also be answering superchats and going on tangential rants at the request of anyone who gives me $5 or more, as is customary on my live streams. Joining me today is another member of hip-hop supergroup SUCKERPUNCH, whose first performance with the group will debut on today's show. a young woman with breasts so large she can't find bras in her size, who just opened a Fansly account last night, titsmintsalad.
Hello. How do you do, Trixie the Golden Witch?
I do great. I
That's
just
good.
did a podcast with you the other day that I had a lot of fun with, where we talked about weird things that turn us on the new Void Gazers podcast. Aside from being in my rap group and having a great rack, Mint Salad also does all the art for my channel, has been a commissioned artist for years, working for The Dick Show, doing original comics and animations with ASE Presents producer Riley the Vizier, who you can see rocking in that chair in the background, and is also a part of the group Sucker Punch. And you can find Mint's daily movie reviews, countless Patreon exclusive vlogs, and the new Void Gazers podcast, which the two of us make together, all in the description. The latest episodes are about weird things that turn us on, and the one that we are recording next week about how we each discovered our own bisexuality. Did I miss anything, Mint? Is there anything else you need to introduce yourself?
You have not missed anything. I must implore you, though. Have you seen Shadow in the Cloud? I want to talk about that.
I have not seen Shadow in the Cloud. What is that?
Well, it is a movie that came out in 2020, and it seems to be very low budget because it's mostly one setting, but it's very much a movie about just say woman in World War II.
Okay.
And like the shenanigans that happen.
The shenanigans that happen in World War II.
It's like a claustrophobic plane. It's very Twilight Zone-esque.
Twilight Zone-esque, okay. Is it like paranoia-inducing? Does it make you feel like you're in a nightmare?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yes. There's a gremlin. And that's
A
the most I'm
gremlin.
gonna say about it, because it's I have a review coming up tonight on this movie on the ASE Presents channel. If you're interested, it's
I am interested.
very good.
I'll watch your review and I'll decide if I want to watch the movie based on that.
Yes, you better.
So I'm going to get right into it. The first thing I'm going to talk about here is my unifying media theory of the Moé and the Guro, around which this show has been partially based, hence the title. As I go along with this rant, of course, anybody who super chats $5 or more with a rant request, I will do all those at a certain point when I find a stopping point in what I'm talking about, and I'll just do a bunch of rants in a row. You can also request rants from Mint Salad. She is totally in the control of this show while she's here, so I can make her say whatever I want. So all right, the Moé and the Guro. Mint, do you know what Moé is? Have you ever heard this word?
I have not.
You've never heard of
Would
Moé at all?
you care to enlighten me what Moé means?
Wow. Okay. Incredible. Well, Moé means a lot of things to a lot of people. Generally, people think of it as like just cute anime girls. It's a sort of style that came to prominence in the. I really want to say that Moé started really growing in the 80s when there became a fixation on the cuteness specifically of the girls, the maiden quality, the you have a lot of these like 16, 17-year-old pretty girls who go on big adventures and save the day and are considered waifus.
Do they have the big breasts though?
Some of them. Back in the 80s, there wasn't as much of the big titty. Anime didn't start getting really into the big titty until the 90s, I think, when Western values were permeating their way into Japan, because big titty is not commonly natural to the Japanese, to Japan. So, I think that in that period of the 80s and early 90s, when they first started inventing like cute girls and being like, how can we make them even cuter and even cuter? And then eventually you got to the 2000s, and that's when Moé really exploded. And you got the Puni Moé, which is like super chibi-fied, cutesy little characters. If you look up, spell it kind of like Digi, D-G, but two separate words, D-G-E-E-G-I, Charat, Charat, and this is what Puni Moe is. It's like the most cutesy possible. If you can show to the camera whatever comes up, yeah, it's like ridiculously infantile, I guess is the word I would use to describe. Yes, that's perfect. Puni Moe. It's like babies, you know, but this was being marketed to the same people as this being marketed like what had once been the more sexualized cutesy characters. Like when you look at, you know, mid 80s action shows, there's always going to be like hot girls getting their clothes torn off, right? But then by the time you get to the early 90s, all the characters are hot girls, and they're still getting their clothes torn off, but they're also the ones beating the bad guys instead of a guy doing it. And then you get to the late 90s, and by this point, it's just shows about cute girls doing cute things, and they've dropped any pretense of there being any kind of surrounding story or, you know, masculine counterpoint or whatever. It's just like infantile baby girls doing nothing. And it's for the same people as had once been, you know, these much more action-centric shows. And I really think that the reason that this happened is that culture, like the real world, got so fucking dark in such an open way. It's so hard for people to deal with, like, nihilistically living in this fucked up world, that they needed there to be this, like, ultimate escape back to childhood, back to an aesthetic sense of, like, perfection and simplicity. You know, this complete regression that people went through that led to Moe becoming this, like, hyperfix. And, you know, even beyond, like, the stuff that's being marketed to otaku and shit, you've also got just, like, Hello Kitty and all the other big cutesy Pokemon. Everything cute hit an apex in the early 2000s where cuteness became the center of culture. But it was also a time, you know, from my experience, where, like, war and, like, the hypocrisy of the government and its involvement in war was at an all-time, like, you know, magnifying glass lens. So it's like the darkest moment in history created the cutest anime girls. But it couldn't last forever because people look at this saccharine shit and they're like, well, you know, this isn't really how I feel. I need that darkness to be present in the story. And so the Moe and the Guro, because, you know, the internet also hyper-accelerated Guro. Guro being, of course, anything. Okay, what's your understanding of Guro, Mint, before I start getting into that?
I also have no idea what that means.
So Guro is short for grotesque, the Japanese pronunciation of the word grotesque. So basically, yeah, anything grotesque would be considered Guro. And, like, historically, you know, there's been tons and tons of grotesque media. There's always been, like, fucking hyper-violent imagery perpetuated by culture, often in religious contexts or just, you know, in response to the horrors of war and all the shit that humans have been doing to each other forever. But the way that grotesquerie and eroticism and moe and cuteness have all become interposed really has been accelerated, I think, by the internet age, where it's very natural to go between, like, perfect example, I was reading this fucking adorable trans manga that I made a video about, Love Me for Who I Am, and as I was reading it on some, you know, website, there's constant porn ads, like little porn banner ads that are just like a close-up photo of the head of a dick, like right in between me reading just the cutest, most moe thing I've ever read, the most heartwarming story, and then just bam, small dick, what the fuck, what is this here? So yeah, it's a weird experience being on the internet, but because your mind gets used to that, that's what you become desensitized to. You want to see this interposition of moe and guro happening more and more, like, you know, flagrantly. And I really think, like, Madoka Magica pushed that into the cultural forefront, where it was like, this is a magical girl show that's fucking dark and sad and violent and fucked up and nihilistic. And it comes from the same guy who wrote Saya no Uta, which I've got as the backdrop behind us here on the stream. But yeah, so basically, my conception of moe, specifically to boil it down to one idea, is not just that it's like a cute girl, but specifically someone you want to root for. That the feeling of moe, which is it comes from moeru, which means burning. So it's like a burning sensation. It's a feeling of passion that you have towards a character. So it goes beyond attraction. Like, attraction is definitely a part of moe. Some people have translated it as like fetish, but I don't really find that to be very accurate. I think it's more so like a feeling of kinship and desire to see that person succeed, whether that is something that like, oh, I can help her. That is definitely a part of it. A lot of people's moe is like, oh, I see this cute girl and I want to help. I want to be the one who makes her able to do the thing she's able to do. That is definitely a big part of the moe draw. But it could also be like, I see myself in this character, and the fact that they're trying their best makes me want to try their best. And that's where you come in, Mint, as the moe factor of this show, because you are, aside from being a cute girl, someone who really does give it their all, puts a lot of effort in, and you have a sort of almost innocent quality about you in spite of the Fansly account and all.
I do my best. You're very nice.
Thank you. Well, I bring the Guro quality to this show by being sick in the head and unable to hold it in. I don't know how to, like... I had a realization on the Monday Night Grift, which is Vito's live stream show that the both of us are hoping to be on tonight. Assuming that Vito does it. He sometimes doesn't live stream, but I hope we can both be on the Monday Night Grift. Which you haven't been on yet. But one of the shows I was on, our good friend Tony from Hack the Movies, very famous movie reviewer, inspiration to...
Very famous YouTuber,
yes,
Tony from Hack the Movies. You have to say the full name. You gotta.
A big inspiration to you, Mint Salad, right? As a movie reviewer. I think you got your start in movie reviews by going on his show, basically.
Yeah, I started by not watching the Power Rangers movie that I was supposed to watch for the review, and there are some of my quotables, such as the kickiness. And also, it's just like, yeah, now I'm doing a lot more reviews. And
daily currently.
It's a long time it's been a long journey.
I have been enjoying the movie reviews. I've actually been like curious about some of the movies you talked about, so I listened to you talk about them so I could be like, okay, is this something that I actually do want to check out, or should I pair? Because
them daily.
I like
there will be no shortage of movies.
I appreciate your perspective as somebody who you don't necessarily consume tons of film criticism, and so you're not trying to sound like a cool film critic type. You're like just saying what you think about the movies, which is a lot more helpful to me, because once I have basically I think it's the job of any critic to be as representative of your own tastes as possible, so that people have a strong sense of like, okay, I know that whatever this person likes, I know its relationship to what I will like. Whether I will like what they like or not, I know the relationship between what I like and what they like. My content recently, I haven't really been trying to be on the recommendation review kind of side of things. I've been more on the like, hey, look, everything's worth watching if you think about it hard enough. Exactly. Kind of side of the spectrum. But your movies are more on the side of, or your reviews rather, are more on the side of like helpfully deciding like whether or not I'm going to watch this movie. Hey, Tony from Hack the Movies is very famous in the chat right now.
Oh,
incredible.
Hello, very famous YouTuber
Thanks for being
Tony
here.
from Hack the Movies.
Now that Tony's blessed this chat, the
humble
super
abode.
chats should be raining down like hail from the sky, because he's blessed this whole entire arena. It's like those memes where it's like
with his very famous energy.
Well, you know the memes where like you're scrolling and it says like, if you saw this, then you repost within 10 minutes and you will be blessed by the god of like Xander or whatever, and then it's like, you
if you see a wild Tony in the wild, then
say, hey, it's Tony from Hack the famous. If you say, hey, it's famous YouTuber Tony from Hack the Movies, when you see Tony in the wild, then yes, you will be blessed with famous energy for the next 32 hours.
But you have to keep saying it, or else.
Yeah, you have to keep boosting
it's
it like a Coke bump. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You have to do it every 15 minutes.
Every 15 minutes? I had said 32 hours,
regardless of if Tony is there or not, you have to harness his famous energy.
Yeah. Oh, I guess if he's not present, then you have to do it every 15 minutes, because then you're really like, you're really grasping at that famous energy.
But yeah, exactly.
Anyway, yeah. So the Guro and the Moé, they've become interposed in this way, and I really think that like how popular something can get has to do with how well it combines these two things. Like how well, like, because there's tons of stuff that's Tony said the amount of messages and questions I got about Mint last week makes me feel like her agent, so I have to be here for my client. We're all going to feel that way more and more as time goes on. I think. I'm
just gonna keep posting these. I'm just gonna keep posting daily, and Tony's gonna keep getting more messages because all of my content's daily. Pretty much.
So. Shit, I fucking mind wiped myself just now on whatever the fuck I was talking about. The Moé, the Guro, the interposition.
Oh yeah, before.
Okay.
Daily sets, daily vlogs on the Patreon, daily movie reviews. That's what's daily. I gotta make that clear. All three things.
Everything's daily. That's a lot of fucking content.
Yeah, I like content.
ASE presents the Patreon, the YouTube channel.
Yes.
You need to be on top of it if you want, and the fansly, of course. But that's for if you need the tits.
I talk to my fans there because I like talking to my fans. I want to talk to them more there, and I respond to every message on Fansly.
So I think in order to be accessible, you have to. The reason actually that Tony came up, it's actually fine that you were here, Tony, because I was going to bring up the fact that you called me out on the Monday Night Grift when I was like saying that this video game looked like ABDL, and you were like, what does that mean? And I was like, adult baby diaper lovers. And you were like, you should keep that to yourself. And I was like, look, I've been traumatized by the internet, all right? Look, I've seen too much, and people need to know about it. But that's why I've got my own show now, so that I can bring those things and make them palatable by talking about them with Mint, who will smile and not even cringe when she hears the horrifying descriptions of grotesque things that I don't know. I don't have anything in mind that's that Guro I'm going to talk about today.
Nothing can make me cringe. It's a challenge. I pose you a challenge. Trixie,
Mint, have you seen Shitting Dick Nipples? Is that too old for you?
Yes, it is.
Okay, Google Shitting Dick Nipples right now. I want to see your reaction to that.
Okay, hold on.
Or you DuckDuckGo it, whatever you want
to.
If you need to be untraceable, I mean it'll affect your search results. You're typing shitting dick. You're gonna get a lot of anime girls with dicks for nipples that are spewing shit. Yeah, don't show this one to the camera. This is a very old 4chan meme. This is just like one of those mind poison things that used to be like everybody had to see this if you were on the internet.
Nipple? What? That's very creative. Like, that's a really creative way to be horny.
Zoomer reacks to shitting dick nipples. That's very creative.
So from the titties, where the nipples would be, you got a cock. And the cock is massive, but on the tip of that cock, instead of the urethra, it's an anus. And coming from that anus is a bunch of shit. But it doesn't look like shit, so it's not as disgusting.
There's a lot of different interpretations of shitting dick nipples out there, too. Are you familiar with Tub Girl?
Hub Girl?
Alright, this one's a little bit more disgusting. It might scar your mind, so I'm gonna leave it up to you if you want to look that one up.
Sorry, what'd you say, Trixie?
Tub Girl is like a girl like on her back with her like cooch up in the air, just like spewing what appears to be like orange juice like everywhere. I'll leave it up to you if you want to look that one up.
There's a musical artist called Tub Girl.
I'm not surprised. It was a huge meme. Like, early internet, because, like, 4chan's B-board, which is the random
is
board,
this?
was...
I saw a cake of it. I'm looking at the results
cake?
of it. Tub girl cake I made for my buddy's birthday. R slash
Oh my
trashy.
god. r/trashy. That's hilarious. Wow. That is definitely grotesque. Yeah, Tub Girl was one of the first things that, like, I had seen that I could not bleach out of my mind, where I was, like, haunted by it for that. I was like, what the fuck? Like, why did I have to witness this? And I was very avoidant of most of those things. Like, I never watched Two Girls, One Cup. I just was like, anything that
I haven't
people...
either, so.
Anytime somebody was like, look at this, it's disgusting, I'm like, no, I won't. I will now avoid that at all costs. So...
Have you had a lemon party before?
No, I don't know what that is. I don't want to know.
Fun surprise.
All right, what is it? What is a lemon party?
I forgot. Let me look it up.
I'll look it up too. I'll put myself on the short end of this stick. Now that I'm getting, all I've found is a bunch of adorable pictures of people with lemon cakes on very nice looking backgrounds.
lemonparty.org.
Lemon Party refers to an early 2000s shock
It's
website
just
featuring
porn.
an image of
Okay.
3 elderly men having sex. Okay.
Oh.
That's fine. That's not a big deal. Geezer orgies, says Hayden Decker in the chat. Yeah, that seems accurate. Nobody's sending me any rant requests. Everybody just wants to hear me talk about the Moé and the Guro and whatever. Mint, I want to hear you rant. I want them to pay me for you to rant because that would be funny. So I think I've made my point about the Moé and the Guro, though, that like it's you know, there's an interplay of the two. I guess I think where we're at culturally right now is in America we're still much more Guro fixated than Moé fixated. I've been catching up on the MCU, you know, and like Scarlet Witch is Moé, but lots of fucking people die in those movies. Those are some violent fucking movies. I just watched The Winter Soldier, which was incredibly violent.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I was just like, wow, this is a movie about how none of the government agencies can be trusted and they're all murdering each other. I love it, but what the fuck? Like, how is this pop cultural mainstream? You know, but that's where we're at. Like, we're in a post Weinstein, post Epstein, post fucking Hillary Clinton world now. So like it's really post Trump.
Did all those people die?
No, we know about how fucked up they all are in a way that like we couldn't have known before, you know? And it's that cultural openness that's led us to, actually what's really gotten me thinking about this is The Boys, because that's like the most Guro show I've ever fucking seen. The Boys is insanely over the top violent, just really dark in concept, extremely cynical. I would consider it a horror comedy. And it's just fucked up. And even just being in the same room as it while it's playing has mentally scarred me. Like,
I definitely want to check it out.
It's
If it just mentally scars you.
Okay,
it sounds
well,
like the perfect type of show.
The way it like starts is there's a guy out on the street with his girlfriend just having a date, and then suddenly she explodes all over him because the Flash has just, you know, run through her, and he's just like, oh, sorry, shit, didn't see you there, later. And he's just like covered in his Beyonce's guts, and so that guy becomes like dedicated to trying to kill all the superheroes and joins this group. So it's like basically this little group of people trying to assassinate all of these like Lovecraftian power level horrible narcissistic asshole monsters that run the world called superheroes and the evil corporation that owns them all. Yeah, it's dark shit. And the fact that media like that can be made, but the world can still be the way that it is just like, man, like, we can know all of this and not be able to stop it. It brings you to a point of really needing, like, a level of darkness in the expression that I just don't think culturally was necessary for people, for a long time. I don't think there's ever been a point before where, like, pop media had to constantly, like it's reassuring from the media to talk about how the government is bad. Like, that's what we think is comforting in the media, is to, like, reflect the reality of how shitty things are. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Am I going to discuss Guro-chan? Why? It's a image board with Guro. No, I'm not. All right. Well, that's all I had to say about the Moé and the Guro. Mint, what's your favorite?
Yes.
Who do you think is the most Moé? What do you think is Moé? What's something that you look at it and you're like, I want to see this cute thing succeed? Dogs? I know you're big into dogs.
Yeah, the dogs, just any dog, but
Is that mint salad? Yes.
the only thing I can really think of is the cat from Keroro Gunso, Geroro's cat. I want that cat to succeed. That's a very Moé. It's a cat. It's a really cute cat. Otherwise, yeah, it's just that cat.
Well, this is the part of the show where I would be reading rant requests in between my topics, but all of these people in the chat haven't given me any money, so I'm sad. That's my Guro of the day. It's being sad about...
Why are y'all making her sad?
They're all giving their money to your Fansly account, and so they can't afford to donate to my stream. It's okay. I'll get that money back. I'll have Mint buy me lunch.
I demand y'all give Trixie money, because she deserves it.
I remind you that...
She's a good ranter, she rants goodly, and therefore you should give her money. Do it. Do it now.
But I do remind you that all of Mint's links are in the description also. The Fansly, the Patreon, the YouTube, and the Twitter. I stuffed all that in there before the stream started. Anyway.
Yeah.
My next subject is BPD music. Do you know what BPD is, Mint?
Borderline personality disorder, bipolar disorder.
Borderline is what we're going for here.
Borderline, okay.
What do you know about borderline? You seem more educated on this than the Moé and the Guro subject.
I don't know specifics on borderline. That I don't really know a lot about it, so I don't want to comment on it unless you know more about it.
Well, borderline personality disorder. I'll just bring up the list of symptoms here. We've all probably known at least someone who suffers from BPD. And, everything is a spectrum. I can relate a lot to the symptoms of borderline personality disorder, but I think these are things that I have always fought within my... Like, things I recognize as bad behaviors, and so that, like, I would not have given into these in the way that I've met people who are just... non-restrictedly borderline. So I'll read some of the symptoms. And some of these, again, I relate to very heavily, especially this first one. Intense fear of abandonment, even going to extreme measures to avoid real or imagined separation or rejection. That I can relate to. A pattern of unstable, intense relationships, such as idealizing someone one moment and then suddenly believing the person doesn't care enough or is cruel. I don't have that extreme. Rapid changes in self-identity and self-image that include shifting goals and values and seeing yourself as bad or as if you don't exist at all. I've definitely felt that way before. Periods of stress-related paranoia and loss of contact with reality lasting from a few minutes to a few hours. That's certainly something I've experienced. Impulsive and risky behavior such as gambling, reckless driving, unsafe sex, spending sprees, binge eating or drug abuse, or sabotaging success by suddenly quitting a good job or ending a positive relationship. Those are the kind of behaviors that I'm like, that's a little too extreme. See, I'm not that extreme of a person, so I wouldn't diagnose myself with BPD because I don't do these kinds of things. But again, I connect with these people. Yeah. Suicidal threats or behavior of self-injury, often in response to fear of separation or rejection. definitely know a lot of that in people. Wide mood swings lasting from a few hours to a few days, which can include intense happiness, irritability, shame, or anxiety, ongoing feelings of emptiness, inappropriate intense anger, such as frequently losing your temper, being sarcastic or bitter, or having physical fights. So that's all the symptoms that are listed on this random website of borderline personality disorder. You can find lots of memes about it online. I was just on like
Are they ever funny?
Yes. Well, it depends on if you know people with borderline personality disorder.
Okay. That's all that matters.
There's a certain person who I've met who I often compare to the show Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. That show is kind of about like somebody who's on this spectrum, I think. But there's a character who dated a friend of mine, or well, not a friend anymore. A character who dated a person I used to be friends with, who like is my poster child, like human example of the extremes of BPD. Who like, just through the stories they told, their behaviors, all of it. I had never encountered a person that extreme before, and so like when I learned about this condition, I was like, oh, them. So like for me, all the memes check out just because I know this person. But again, I think that everything's a spectrum, and a lot of people can connect with, on some level the symptoms of borderline, and they overlap with lots of other stuff. Like I would consider myself to be mostly dissociative. It's because of various things. But, like, that's the core of, if I had to diagnose myself with something, it's just, like, general dissociative anxiety, something like that, But I really connect...
I would diagnose myself with autism.
Way to make it obvious who it is. Only if you know who that person is. I think I'm being pretty fucking vague unless you really know lore of people, of... girlfriends of friends I used to have.
By the way, I'm actually autistic, just to make it clear. It sounded like a joke, but I'm actually autistic.
Oh, somebody was questioning that?
Just to make it clear, sometimes I am not clear about the tism that I have, while I have the autism.
Incidentally, we had a $2 super chat from Farpoint Station asking how much to see Riley on Fansly. I don't know. You'd have to ask his price, I guess. I'm not the person to ask this. His body, his choice. So, BPD music. I connect with a lot of music that I would consider to be, like, about having BPD or like...
Oh, Trixie.
Yeah.
At the right time, Riley will be on Fansly.
Okay, when the time comes.
It's a little tease. Yeah, when the time comes. Yeah. It would be Riley and I
wonder... So Squirrel Guy says, I wonder if I'm a psychopath. Probably not. I think you'd know. I think psychopaths are basically people with, like, no emotions who just only view things in terms of, like, how do I get my way, and, like, literally don't care about what happens to anybody else at all. To an extent where they can't even actually understand how to get their way because they can't connect with people emotionally enough to figure out how to do that, so they just like attack people. But anyway, Mint is a diagnosed autism. Mint is not making shit up. Mint is
Yeah, I was diagnosed when I was 16. So
yeah.
It's the real kind, the one that wasn't fixed when I was a little child.
No, yeah. I empathize a lot with a lot of the symptoms that come up in various like mental, neuroatypicals, I guess, neurally atypical people. A lot of it is stuff that I felt a lot more intensely when I was younger, and I've found lots of coping mechanisms for dealing with. So like when I compare myself to being like autistic or being BPD, I'm really thinking about when I was 16 or 17 and I did not know how to face society at all or how to deal with my emotions or any of that. And the type of stuff that I was consuming at the time was all like loud, chaotic, stuff that just like fills you with so many melodies and so many different aggressive ideas that it it shouts above all that emotion and kind of keeps you in check, or at least doing something like I'm trying to think of exactly what I'm trying to say. It's easier to not dissociate if you're listening to music that is louder than your emotions, basically, is how I felt at the time. So like because I was thinking so much and feeling so much and so by myself with so little to do, I needed the music to really be engaging and involving and have lots of fucking shit going on and lots of interpretation, that I could do of it, where I really preferred stuff with really indirect lyrics because I didn't understand what I was going through. So music that was expressing like a clear-cut emotion that seems to be dealing with a common situation, I usually found unrelatable, whereas something that's maybe a little bit more opaque and emotional, but without really revealing what the actual situation it's commenting on is. For instance, Linkin Park, I'm wearing the shirt right now, was my first favorite band, and as Mike Shinoda put it, we don't write about situations, we write about the emotions behind the situations. So
are you crawling in your skin? These wounds will never heal?
Yes.
Deep inside his soul? Fourth line?
I don't... Crawling in my skin, these wounds will never heal. Fear is how I fall, confusing what is real, would be the lyrics. There's something
bigger
inside
Linkin
me
Park
that flows beneath the
me.
surface.
Good job.
Consuming, confusing. Yeah, no. I listened to that album like thousands of times when I was 10 to 11 years old. It was all I wanted to listen to. So I learned breath control and how to rap from listening to that album so many fucking times. But now I've just got Crawling stuck in my head, and that's not even a song I really particularly love. It is a little bit cringy, but yeah, the lyrical content of those songs, like for me as a kid, I didn't really understand what most of the songs were trying to say at all. I learned the lyrics, but I didn't connect to a lot of them because they were more advanced experiences than I'd had. I got into the band through what's the fucking single, One Step Closer, and that's because it was shut up when I'm talking to you. Shut up, shut up, shut up. I'm about to break. Everything you say to me takes me one step closer to the edge, and I'm about to break. That was the emotions that I did understand at the time, was anger towards other people. Like, oh, everybody else is fucking with me, and I just wish they'd shut up and listen for a second, and I could get through to them. But otherwise, I didn't connect with the lyrics as much. But then once I got to be in my teens, and I was like, starting to sort of mentally fracture, then lyrics like, paranoia is all I've got left. I don't know what stressed me first or how the pressure was fed, but I know what it feels like to have a voice in the back of my head. Like, now I get what these lyrics mean,
Oh man, I listened to a lot of Linkin Park in middle school.
Linkin Park plays really well into both my BPD music and my Moé The Guro points here, because the theory of the like Chester versus Mike Shinoda voices and the theory of like how they're combining hip hop and rock as well as just like light and heavy passages is all playing into that, and it's stratifying it, or rather like bifurcating it in a way that makes it evident that that's what they're doing, even though the parts all flow into each other really well. And there's lots of artists who have kind of done this, like I think of Opeth and Agalach are bands that I was really into when I was in my teens on the like extreme music side, where they have like long passages of heavy growled vocals, over the top loud fucking banger metal songs, and then it gives into these soft sung, pretty very angelic parts. And so it's about the fact that you're always shifting tone between these, like the darkest thoughts are always besides the brightest, as Ye put it on Ye. He was talking about bipolar.
Trixie,
yeah,
were you speaking of like bands similar to Linkin Park and such, were you ever a fan of Rise Against?
I liked the Sufferer and the Witness album when that came out, and so I've heard that
Okay.
a whole lot. I haven't really listened to them a lot beyond it. I've heard the singles
I've
here
listened
and
to a lot of Rise Against
Yeah.
also in middle school. I went through this phase of just listening to butt rock is what it's officially known.
I would
And
consider them to
also-
be like a punk rock
Pop punk?
type band. Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
punk rock more
also,
so because his voice is so fucking
yeah.
rough.
Yeah, also the newest single from Sucker Punch is based off of it's got like a Rise Against-esque hook, which is very exciting. It's not like sorry, it has the Rise Against vibes, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that when we get to premiering that song.
Cool.
Um,
Very exciting. We're gonna premiere that in this stream.
yes,
So
in
stay
in a
tuned.
bit. But yeah, I would consider them because like Rise Against they're just like in the sad and angry zone most of the time. You know, like there's not a lot of there's like levity and beauty there, but it's all presented from the angle of like, you know, life is a sad fucking place, you know, and I'm upset about it. And I guess Linkin Park was kind of in that range too. They were less angry about the world and much more internal struggles, you know, or like interpersonal struggles. But like, again, I think that for me, the music was fun. Like, first and foremost, the reason I like Linkin Park is because even though the emotions might have been dark and sad, the music itself was fun and charging and not so dark or so tortured that it went... Because at the time that Linkin Park was big, in the same sphere of bands, like what was considered nu metal, was like Disturbed and Slipknot and like Mudvayne and Papa Roach. And so you have Papa Roach who's like, I want to kill myself is the song. Like, you know, how does it go? Suffocation, no breathing, don't give a fuck if I come on bleeding. Yeah.
I used to know more of that song in middle school.
Yeah, that,
But anyway.
you know, again, that's very much just like sad, angry, aggressive, but like it's a little too on the nose where like I had contemplated an attempted suicide before, but I had never cut myself, you know? So like being that specific about it kind of takes it a little bit further away from me, whereas Linkin Park being so deliberately non-specific, you know, made it so I could always kind of project onto those lyrics and
Yeah.
also they didn't swear on their first two albums. So when I was a kid,
Oh, they didn't?
the fact that they didn't swear was a big deal to me because I didn't swear, you know, so it was helpful. I didn't have to bleep anything out of the lyrics. I could sing it in front of my parents.
It definitely did help that my parents bought the album because it didn't swear, so I listened to a lot of Linkin Park then.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I also had a similar experience to you when it comes to relating to the lyrics, because I liked listening to the songs. It was very emo. I was a very emo, but I wasn't like doing anything about it. I was just listening to sad music about it, and so it was like I can channel all this rage and energy inside of me, and while listening to this music, and then also drawing to express those feelings as well, which is also how I started listening to music. But yeah, I get the not being able to relate to the lyrics as much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
Although
especially when you're a
I never
kid.
really listened to a lot of the lyrics. Yeah.
And honestly, like most people that I've talked to, even who do like music in general, like don't pay attention to lyrics. It's a very small subset of people who actually cares about the lyrical content of music, but you know, we're out there.
Yeah.
And that's basically how I started analyzing stuff, was because of music, analyzing lyrics. We have a couple of super chats that have come in, and I'm going to have you start us off on answering this one, Mint, because I have to go to the bathroom. But Farpoint Station with $5. Domo arigato gozaimasu says, topic, Mint and Trixie, can you explain how you first encountered internet subculture and what effect it had on you growing up and your home life? I'm going to let you start.
All right. For me, I started on this, I started on Club Penguin, actually. And there I just got introduced to the culture of just talking to people online. This is like avatars and whatnot. Also through Roblox when that first started in 2009. I was one of the early adapters, so I started talking to people there, and then there's a lot of like forums that I would go to, like this one Pokemon forum called Arc Ice. I don't know if it's still up, but then I just was on the internet a lot growing up. I started using the internet when I was 7, and pretty much from there I started just looking at like snakes and animals and looking up how to draw, and that was always helpful. But like then the transition to like social media like Tumblr, definitely when I was 14 I decided to use Tumblr because before that, kind of like the transitionary before between like Club Penguin was playing a lot of Minecraft and then talking to a lot of people there, so like got into more of like the gaming scene and whatnot. And then after that I was reading some like fanfics, got into the creator aspect of it, and then that was when I started using Tumblr, and that was when like I just saw all these internet subcultures emerge. Like this is like a big ol' experience for me because I had never seen something like this before. I only talked to like a select few people, and then I was able to follow a bunch of topics like Steven Universe, Rick and Morty, and just other topics like that. And then went to Twitter, and it wasn't until like I started listening to The Biggest Problem Universe when I like was like, oh, fan engagement exists, and then more fan engagement when I discovered the Dick Show, and that was the point in which like this internet thing went from like, okay, I have like a small little bubble of people that I'm like I can talk to, this whole big thing. It's like, oh wow, there's a lot of subcultures that I'm like not even like acknowledging.
You can call them subcultures. That's a lot of what they do.
There's a bunch of subcultures. There's just like little pockets surrounding like a bunch of creators and like subjects and whatnot. And like that's starting like 2019 is when the internet like got really big for me. But it was always been ramping up since like I was a kid, like back in like 2008, 2009.
Great answer for what I heard of it.
Also, I should mention I am 21.
And I will be turning 31 in August.
Amazing.
And I've been on the internet since goddamn I was like 9. Specifically you asked about internet subculture, because I was on the internet before I discovered subculture for like years. I had already been on, using Google to just like find pictures of stuff, using the Pokemon website to play games and that kind of shit, looking up Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. The first subculture I got involved with was when I was 11 in 2002. I got onto the Yu-Gi-Oh forums. There was this massive Yu-Gi-Oh fan forum. I kept losing my passwords or forgetting my name because it would just be like a string of ones because I didn't know what I wanted to be. So I kept like forgetting how many ones were in my name. Anyway, I would post on this Yu-Gi-Oh forum mostly about how Kaiba's a badass and, that's about it. And then from there, from like having experience with forums, when I got really into anime heavily with my cousin, then he sort of pointed out that like there were these fan forums for anime where you could learn about shows to watch and hear people's opinions on shows that are currently going. Since I was watching everything on Cartoon Network at the time, I started going onto these forums to talk about all the shows that aired there. But most of the people online were a lot older than me. Like back then, most of it was college students who were, especially on the places I was going, like I was going there because people were capable of writing well and having good discussions. I wasn't. I just wanted to be around those types of people because they're interesting. So like my ability to write and speak well has come entirely from just like wanting to be able to hang out with and talk to and like keep up pace with the kinds of people who write about stuff in a way that like made me understand it better, that made me go, oh, now I really get why this thing is cool. So it's very much me imitating all the older people I knew on the internet in subculture. So yeah, like had a massive effect on my life. I would say like for me, my interest in the internet, I think, is because I came to it almost as an evolution of being into magazines. Like, because when I was like 6 or 7, I got into Nintendo, and mostly the reason I was such a fangirl of Nintendo specifically is that I had Nintendo Power Magazine. So it was like this constant reinforcement of the identity of you are a fan of this thing. And so I had like the whole way that internet people act, the incessant fangirling and fanboyism, the just the retarded, no, bad word, the stupid attachment that people have to all the bullshit that they like have based their identity on the fact that they're a fan of this thing. That was my whole childhood. I was the most obnoxious fan of thing possible, where like I was mad at everyone else for liking things that weren't my thing because I couldn't talk to anybody about my thing because I didn't know how to charismatically sell my thing. Only in the
character Lugia.
So yeah, I would say that I very much was a part of like what would have been considered the toxic culture of the internet, but I never really expressed that toxicity online because I was used to kind of getting bullied in real life. And by the time I got to the internet, even though I had lots of energy and I was always like very over the top with my interactions with people, I did kind of understand that everyone was older than smarter than me, and so like as angry as I was that people didn't respect me, I also understood why they didn't respect me and that I didn't really deserve it and that I needed to be better, you know. So yeah, I learned a lot from being on the internet. We have another super chat from Aspie for £4.99. It says, "Do you like Nine Inch Nails? They have influenced me to start making industrial metal music." I do. I sort of grew up with Nine Inch Nails. My mom was a huge fan when they debuted in like '89. She literally had the mohawk. Like everyone in Nine Inch Nails had a mohawk where they have like long hair and a ponytail. So it's like a, you know, shaved on the sides, but you have a long ponytail. My mom had that hairdo actually when she got married. But they disguised it in the wedding photos. But yeah, so all of her records were like stolen or sold by the time I was a kid. So I only basically grew up with whatever CDs my parents purchased post like 1992, and my mom never ended up picking up any Nine Inch Nails CDs. So I had only known them through radio singles up until With Teeth. And my mom got that album, and I listened to that a whole lot. So for me, my introduction to them was basically With Teeth, and I do think that's a really solid album. You know, I like songs from all of their albums. I don't think any of them is great all the way through. They're all like pick and choosers. Wish from the whatever EP that's from is probably my favorite Nine Inch Nails song. Wish there was something real, wish there was something true. I love just how fucking snotty he is, how bratty and fucking obnoxious the vocals are, and how just fucking full throttle it is all the time. Definitely a big influence. Yeah.
Hurt.
Oh yeah,
I'm
Hurt.
familiar with Hurt.
I
hurt myself in the end.
Today.
Oh, every time I'm like,
I still feel.
Every time I make a big goof, Riley and Bird just played Nine Inch Nails, Hurt.
They usually, I think,
the Johnny Cash version.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's usually the Johnny Cash cover that we end up hearing, but I'm glad that even though it's not a super chat, Blind Prophet here asked thoughts on Dance Gavin Dance, because that brings me back on topic to the BPD music. Dance Gavin Dance is absolutely an example of what I'm talking about. So to sort of explain why I'm even codifying this as a thing, there's a music critic who I'm a fan of called Finn McKenty, and he is always kind of asking like why these certain bands are popular, which include like The Fall of Troy, Dance Gavin Dance, like Protest the Hero, all these bands that are like post-hardcore that have tons of like just like really fast riffs, lots of wheelie kind of stuff, and like usually high-pitched vocalists, and they're always just like screeching about you know, their problems with other people and communication. And the band that's my favorite that falls into this category, Coheed and Cambria, a band that I grew up with, as a big fan of, and that other fans of Coheed and Cambria I met over the years, and they're always tend to be extremely intense people. They're really into Coheed. If you say anything wrong about the band, they're going to be upset. Like I've never met other Coheed fans I could get along with, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Is Brand New similar to one of these?
Brand
bands?
New, yes, that's another great example of a borderline personality type band.
Yeah, Riley's favorite one of those, so yes.
Yeah, they're definitely in this category, especially the later albums. When I first heard them, I was like, wow, if I had heard this when I was a teenager, because I didn't hear Brand New until I was on the music board on 4chan, like, way later. So when I discovered them, I was like, wow, I would have been into this back in that period of time where I was listening to all the really intense, emotional, screamo type music. But Coheed and Cambria was always my favorite, and they have a new song out called Comatose, and it's one of my favorite songs I think they've ever done, which is crazy because I haven't liked a Coheed song that much in like 10 years. But the song is it has lyrics like, "You can't cross the line, you're borderline." It's basically a self-diagnosis of BPD on the part of the song. But what the song is about this like struggle that I see in Claudio. And granted, so okay, every Coheed and Cambria album is a sci-fi narrative. So on a metatextual level, this song will eventually probably be revealed to be some crazy epic comic book sci-fi fucking narrative shit that has like a totally different meaning from the obvious emotional meaning. But Coheed and Cambria has always written songs that have an obvious emotional meaning to Claudio as a singer that is being reinterpreted into this sci-fi story. And so he's just gotten a lot more direct on the emotional end of it over the years. It's become more and more that, like, you have to really read into it, the sci-fi stuff. Well, I shouldn't even say that. It's always been the case that you have to really read into it. The lyrics just used to be nonsense. It used to be that the lyrics were almost indecipherable unless you were trying to understand the sci-fi narrative. Now, they are very clear messages as songs that happen to also be sci-fi. Anyway, the reason I bring all this up is that lyrically what this song is about is wanting to be more open and more true to yourself, but feeling that it's probably a bad idea because you have so many bad thoughts that other people wouldn't want to hear, that, and especially that feel like irresponsible. And so the whole song is about emotionally going back and forth between I want to be myself, but also I shouldn't, so fuck it, leave me comatose. And it's really interesting to hear like the back and forth going on just in the lyrics, about the decision this person's basically making. And to me, it reflects the career of Claudio Sanchez, the singer-songwriter of the band. Because if you look at the early work of Coheed and Cambria, it's songs about like gang rapes happening in the streets that are sung in like cutesy Moé vocals. It's like, hold on, let me try to think of the lyrics to Devil in Jersey City.
Oh boy, what a combination.
Sweet Josephine, will you fuck me back home? Let's fire it up.
Like, it's these just...
Oh boy.
Lots of dark, sadistic lyrics, especially when you go back to Shibuti, which is before they were Coheed and Cambria. They had songs like Godfather's Lollipop and Kinder Whore, which are like from the perspective of pedophiles, from what I can tell. It's fucked shit. So like, but that's all what appealed to me about Coheed at the time, was that like they were willing to dive into these really fucked dark thoughts that, that like I as a teenager was first dealing with having dark thoughts and being afraid of them, and so I connected with this music that's sort of about that. But over time, as Claudio's, kind of moved past all those emotions and dealt with them and become an adult, and he's got a kid, and he doesn't really want to sing about gang rape and violence in the streets and shit. So, when you get to the album The Color Out of the Sun, that was the first album they did that is not a sci-fi narrative. That's just about, like, being a dad and growing up. And there's even kind of an undercurrent message in the song Eraser of regretting this, like regretting becoming sort of a milquetoast normie, you know, as opposed to being like this outrageous rock star that he kind of presented himself as throughout the early part of the band. And so, you know, now he's got all these songs that are like very obviously dedicated to his kid. There's the song Rise Nanisha from the new album, which is about like basically proposing himself as like a super robot suit that could show up to beat people up for his kid. That's the way I imagine the emotions behind this song. He's like, call me and I'll be there. I'll be your great destroyer. That's the theme of the song. But then you got this song, Comatose, that's literally about like grappling with not wanting to be an edgy borderline personality, but also wanting to express yourself. So I thought that was super interesting and very much opened up the whole. It opened up Coheed in a way for him to just have a lyric like, you're borderline. Like, this is a man who's been to therapy now. This is a guy who's now been given definitions to the term, like to the way that he thinks that's, you know, that's been so problematic. And do I think Claudio has BPD? Probably. Shibuti broke up because he was getting drunk on stage and screaming all the fucking lyrics, and the drummer just packed up and left one day. Like, I think he's also probably been through some fucking shit given the lyrics that he writes. And
Trixie, you should become an anime therapist.
I am the anime therapist. That's my that's what I do. But this isn't even anime. I'm talking about a real person. So Claudio, apologies if you hear this. This is weird, but but I mean that's what music a lot of the time is basically people just airing their therapy sessions with themselves, you know, onto and seeing if anybody else connects with it. And I definitely have always connected heavily with Coheed. I've been listening to them since I was like 15. So, you know, for me, there's a lot of projection going on, but it's like I have a parasocial relationship with this artist through both their music and through their appearances on other things, and, you know, knowing just little bits about their life that makes me think, okay, like I see the trajectory you've gone on from being like a really, really tortured teenager and early 20-something to being like completely satisfied normie adult who's just kind of trying to figure out how to keep challenging yourself musically and without, like, you know, diving into stuff that's going to scare your child, you know. Makes me wonder if when the kid grows up, will he go back to just being like utterly fucked or something. That would be great.
What do you mean going back to?
Well, yeah. Well, re-revealing the utter fuckedness, I guess, of whatever's under the surface there.
That kid's always fucked if they're going back to being fucked when they're an adult.
No, I didn't mean the kid. I meant Claudio will go back to being fucked up after the kid is an adult. So, like, the kid grows up, and then he's like, all right, son, now that you're 18, I'm going to tell you, you know, I used to make all these really fucked up songs about my fucked up past, and I'm going to do that again now. So, just letting you know.
Do you think the past or the songs are more embarrassing?
The songs. The songs will always be more embarrassing. Because the past, you couldn't help what happened to you. The song is how you decided to deal with that might be embarrassing, you know?
Okay, that makes sense.
Anyway, I think I've basically covered BPD music. I actually recorded like a 28-minute audio version of this that I was going to make as a video, but I wasn't really satisfied with it. I thought it was just like a little too loose, and I want to hash out the idea more. But I just kept thinking about, there was one, let me look it up real quick. One time I Googled BPD, and the first sign and symptom was efforts to avoid real or perceived abandonment, such as plunging headfirst into relationships or ending them just as quickly. And I immediately thought of the first lyric from the most famous Coheed song, Welcome Home, which is, you could have been all I wanted, but you weren't honest. Now get in the ground. It's like literally, you could have been all I wanted, but instead die, you know? Like, that's pretty fucking extreme, and that is like BPD in a nutshell in one lyric. It also reminded me of the Fall of Troy lyric from the song Macaulay McCulkin, where he's just very slowly building up. Maybe she forgot about her talks, or maybe I'm mistaken, but I swear to God, she's not getting out of this without some kind of explanation. Oh, I'm straining on your patience, maybe scaring you a little. Just because you came to visit doesn't mean you have to hide. I'll be waiting on the side of your house with an empty body bag and alone at 45. And then you won't forget my fucking name. That is some BPD lyrics right there.
Amazing. Oh, Trixie, something just dawned on me. I don't know if your audience knows who I am and how we met.
You are Mint Salad, and you have all of your links in the description to your Twitter, Fansly, YouTube, and Patreon. Mint is a movie reviewer on YouTube. We met because she moved in with me, because I moved in her and her partner and my partner all to crew up with me to make stuff, and we've been making shit for...
I'm an artist first, by the way. I'm a graphic designer, not just a movie reviewer, period.
Well,
I started as a graphic designer.
I guess I just see it as most relevant to my audience that you are a movie reviewer, because these are, you know, people who watch YouTube videos all day, I assume. But yes, you also did all the art on this channel. You designed the logo. You did the character design for my Twitter. That's always updating. I think you're either working on or about to be working on a new ponified version of Trixie the Golden Witch for a special video I want to make on the new My Little Pony movie, and which may or may not lead into you and I doing episodic coverage of this new season of this new generation of My Little Pony. Do you know anything about this, Mint?
No, oh boy, my only exposure to My Little Pony was the first 4 seasons of the last generation, and I stopped right as Twilight Sparkle got her wings, and I was like,
that's a good place to stop.
This is the end. This is all I need to watch. And then I was like, oh wait, there's more.
Well done.
And I didn't stop.
There's like
I never
9 more seasons after that. It's quite a bit, but yeah, there's a new generation, and I actually really like the way that they're handling it release style-wise, because they opened with a movie that's like a 90-minute movie that's on Netflix, and then now that came out like September last year, and now they're continuing it with a series of like 50-minute episodes that I guess are going to release once in a blue moon, so the first one of those is out now. And then there was a bunch of these like little 5-minute webtoons on YouTube. Those were a little too baby for me. I tried the first one. I was like, this is a little too much of a kids show. But I definitely picked up on some interesting stuff in the other stuff, the other shorts. We have a super chat from TrueFox1 for $5. Domo arigatou gozaimasu. What?
Oh, Trixie.
Yes.
Before you bring that up, I want to mention that he's anime. He silly has an anime is very similar to it's cool.
Very similar to what?
To the release style. Like, it's an hour-long anime.
Okay.
Like, it's very similar to the release style is what I meant to say.
Wow. I didn't know it was a whole
My
hour
Little
long.
Pony.
That's really impressive. He Silly's animation. Yeah, I'll put a link to that.
Sorry, you were continuing with the super chat?
TrueFox1 with $5. Thoughts on Moé points / anti-Moé points? What do you think a person's Moé points say about them? I like cat girls and gothic Lolita, but not tan lines. So basically, he's asking, what do the things that you're saying Moé points, but this specifically sounds like you actually do mean fetishes. But maybe it's not always sexual. It's just like what you are compelled to support. That's a way of putting it. We'll say that's what a Moé point is. Yeah, like something that makes you compelled to like the character. Like for instance, if you are like, oh, I'm all about dog ears, that's a Moé point, is what he's saying. So it's something that like a character automatically is gonna be more likely to catch your Moé fancy if they have that trait, is what he's saying. I definitely think your Moé points and anti-Moé points say a lot about you, but it's really hard to determine what. Like,
big eyes.
Big eyes. Yeah, like
Big eyes. I personally like the dog ears and the big old titties as well,
yeah.
but also the big old eyes and the cutest eyes of all. It's also Riley's too, but mine more. Mine more.
Yeah. I think each of these styles, like, it does say something about you, but what that is difficult to determine because everyone has their own relationship to the style. Like, when I think about Gothic Lolita, personally, like, I see it as it's meant to sort of drown you out. Like, the person underneath almost doesn't matter as much as, you know, just being totally blanketed and consumed by, like, you know, over-the-top feminine... I want to say beauty, but it's more so like intricacy. I see it as very dissociative and very similar to Gothic architecture in that, like, it's about just how complex it can be while still making sense, you know, as an overall aesthetic package. But it really does drown out the person underneath. And so, you know, I'm fascinated with it, but I don't want to speak on it too much because I'm not a Gothic Lolita, so, like, I don't really know what the appeal is to the people who actually do it, you know, as opposed to me as somebody who appreciates it, kind of. I was much more into Gothic Lolita aesthetic when I was a teenager, and I wanted to do it. Like, if I had been skinny as a teen, that would have been where I went, was to Gothic Lolita. I have body image issues to such that I did not want to look any particular way unless I was skinny. So, you know, when I say things like, oh, if I was skinny, you could be like, well, you didn't have to be. I had to be for my own brain. You know, considering now I'm like fucking 125 pounds, whereas back then I was like 180. So,
Damn.
yeah. But now I am not as interested in that kind of aesthetic. I much more prefer to wear, like, fairly minimal functional clothes, you know. But as for what I would consider moe points, I mean, I'm generally attracted to androgyny, as I kind of went over in our latest episodes of the new Void Gazers podcast about weird things that turn us on. We kind of ended up just talking about our tastes in general in like, you know, stuff we look for. But I also get into headspace sometimes where I'm just looking to be surprised. Like, I'm just trying to find the weirdest thing that I can get off on, you know, where, like, I'm just like, all right, let's go find some, like, I'm just gonna go type Guro monster, you know, like, come in ear or something like that, and, like, see what we get, and try to find something that happens to be hot, you know?
Oh, gross. I don't like the cum and ear stuff. Isn't that like a reference to the Void Gazers podcast? You did bring that up.
I talked about a brain fucking on the latest episode. A very, in my opinion, very erotic animation of Linkle getting Ganon's large dong through her brain. Through some sort of magic in a way that seems to be enjoyable, but also possibly just pulping her brain. I don't know. I don't really know what's going on in there. You don't see the inside.
It's a new learning experience.
Yeah.
You got to put it directly into the brain. Otherwise, you won't learn how to accept the cock properly. I'm guessing.
So
but,
I think I'm going to premiere our song now, and talk a bit about Sucker Punch, our musical project that we're both a part of. So Sucker Punch is a hip hop supergroup consisting of, let me see if I know everybody because we've been adding members. We've got Cranberry Dave, the producer, who is the centerpiece of this entire work.
Legendary hip-hop producer Cranberry Dave.
Absolute
full title, Trixie,
motherfucking legend. Legendary hip-hop producer Cranberry Dave, the title I gave him. Who, you know, makes these incredible fucking beats, and we've been just trying to use as many of them as we can, as our talents allow for. And so you've got me, Trixie the Golden Witch. You've got titsmintsalad, who is actually debuts on this song. You have a backup singing role on this song in the hook, what we're going to hear. And I'm going to ask you about it afterwards. And but otherwise, you've got a verse from me, a verse from Dyron Miller, who is a rapper out of Houston that we're all close friends with, who's just unbelievably dope. Then you've got Riley the Vizier, who also has the hook on this song, which is one of my favorite. Well, no, wait, I'm thinking of AFK right now, but Riley does have the hook on this song. But AFK is one of my favorite hooks ever. I just had to specify. I do like the hook on this song as well.
One of my favorite hooks ever.
Well, you're also on this hook. I love this hook. I've been listening to the AFK hook for like a year now.
Riley's verse specifically, not me, just Riley. I like Riley's verse.
No, yeah, the actual the rapping on this one is from me and Dyron as well. I guess everything I said about AFK is also true of this song. So so it doesn't matter that I had confused him in my head for a second. But yeah, this one is going to be Where Is Your Head? It is completely new. It has not been released anywhere yet. So I'm going to make sure that I'm going to make the visualizer full screen. So let me just go ahead.
The lyrics are the most meaningful to Riley. So, of any song that he's ever made. So
Damn.
it's anti-war, it's anti-government, it's the fuck the police vibes, you know, that stuff. Very, very entertaining, very impactful, very
There we
and
go.
and whatever. It's also Black Lives Matter too. So you know, this is the song for all.
The song
It's
for
all.
all. It
Yes,
is all.
It is a good song.
All right, I'm
Hope
going
y'all
to go
enjoy
ahead.
it.
Mint, you can go ahead and mute yourself. And I'll be playing this.
Wait. Play AFK before the song.
Play AFK first? Okay. We can do that.
Pen only. Just play all of them.
You want me to play the whole EP? All right. Let's just go ahead. Is that have they been released in order of how they're going to appear on the album? Or EP rather.
Are they in order? They should be, yeah.
Here we go. Okay. Well, we'll do it. We'll just do the whole...
Oh, AFK is last, actually.
Okay.
But
But otherwise, they would be in
Yeah.
order?
it did come out before the other songs, though.
Alright. Let's just play this whole goddamn thing.
Not from KC, but I'm a total killer boy. I live inside an ill void, and you are dying still avoid. Leaving life in period. You and I, the living type of life. I'm younger than the dude I like, no period. I'm hungry and I'm ruthless. I'll spend 20 years to prove this. I'm abusive to the record. I'm intrusive and impressive. I'm elusive, you a necklace. You got delirium, circle back like fuck. You need the serum, son. The song will send you back to beers and songs without luck. Overdose on beer and Thomas and crash your dumb truck. And then when it appears all done, take the bottom off the bottle and get the barrel of a gun. And chug until you never have to see the sun again, homie. I live and die by the pen only.
I live and die by the pen only.
I'll lick your fucking eyes out and shit on your brain, bitch. I'm fucking insane, bitch. I come from another planet. I don't fucking understand you people, but I'll eat you in a poke bowl. Busting out my pokeball, fucking up the universe. Arceus unleashed and shit. Yes, this is a pokeverse. What you gonna call me out? Say it to my face, little bitch. Internet shit talkers, come and meet the Mr. Taste the Fist. Sucker punch maxed out, rock your fucking teeth out, blow your fucking speakers and leave you laying ass out. Classically trained in the art of the strange, we decimate lanes with deranged shit we spit. You get fucked without even controlling it. I just keep on rolling it. You could be laying and sleeping to death. I won't name names that aren't worth my breath.
Skip it through time, it's so easy when I write. I'm like Flash when it comes to being hard when you're plugging in your drive. Subsequent worries on my mind, now unheard of, afraid to be alive. Only reason I could die is if a nigga in the sky trying to fly off the page. Yeah, I'm so ill with a mind full of rage. Look at who to kill, the perspective of my age. Corporations want all the blood they can taste. So hit a damn song, just know there is a message. Know it's really hectic in this world full of pressure. Worry is a spectacle, I'm flying high in heaven. I'm a god and you ain't brethren in the sky like I'm in heaven. In the sky like who is better? Say my name and take a breather. Throwing shade but made you seedless. Now alone and have no sleepness. You're a barnacle, you sleeping.
All right, like gold.
I'm lit as ice is cold. If you don't like me, you don't like gold. Yeah, I'm lit as ice is cold. If you don't like me, you don't like gold. Everybody in the game want the crown. I don't want the crown, I wanna reign in the crowd. I wanna rain in the plow. I wanna harvest this hard work straight out of the ground. Lot of poverty, bars closed and vacant in towns. Cities are not close, cases don't get close. Northern Nevada where the venomous spit flows. Got stabbed once and hit much more. I went hobo, loco, shit bro. I ain't go no further than this though. This song on this day, here at this show. I live in the moment in order for it to exist. So I'll die for the movement that took me in as a kid, oh. I'm lit as ice is cold. If you don't like me, you don't like gold. Yeah, I'm lit as ice is cold. If you don't like me, you don't like gold. Pull up in a gray beam, 4 bowls deep with a vape stink. Mid rolls until we out a pape screen. Is always on deck. I'm a living car wreck. Protect your neck or I'll vamp out at your necks. Coast to coast, I'll live in a car yet. Roast to roast, do we know who they are yet? Nothing's ever been safe, birth to man's death. The miracle rapper, hero of the West. I'm lit as ice is cold. If you don't like me, you don't like gold. Yeah, I'm lit as ice is cold. If you don't like me, you don't like gold. I'm lit as ice is cold. If you don't like me, you don't like gold. Yeah, I'm lit as ice is cold. If you don't like me, you don't like gold.
I told you I'm a motherfucking guy. If I don't do my job, I'ma have to get the mop. Yeah, I got girls on my line. If they say the word, I'ma take them to the top. Hey, happy birthday to me. I'm 20 years old, still got a place to be. We gon' ball till it's over, pass the beat on me. Got a team, sucker punch, kick a nigga in the face, Bruce Lee. Newly looking at the old me, like these niggas knew me. Ballin' like I'm Kobe, OB. I am the one where the hoes be. Take a bad girl, then I turn into low me. No, you can't chill with the crew. No means no, feeling like the go. Filled with the ego, that's worse, no hope. Low bro, get down, low. Go up, never come down, fuck pogo. Can't fuck with hate, cause I would be a bozo.
Yeah, I see him looking like a bozo while I'm over here huffing gold dust. About to sneeze $1 million. I have only gotten hotter and hotter. Melted gold cascading through shipwreck lower deck. Fire on my name from start to end. I like gold, I'm like gold. When I swing, I strike gold. When I sing, I break mold. In the coldest place where I stay coldest. So, call me the prospector. No time for lecture. 5-finger impression. Sucker punch, smash mouth. This that fucking East Coast Mid-South. No fucking doubts. Read the Telegraph. Hell yeah. God damn, that got me so fucking hyped up. Dyron Miller is the rapper who was in the middle of that song. People were asking, who is that? Dyron is the homie who goes from Houston, and he is fucking absolutely destroying on this album. All right, we're about to debut the first song to feature Mint Salad, doing backups in this hook. Where's your head at? No, where is your head, rather? Where is your head? Yeah?
Could you stop singing over the music? It just sounds like it's badly mixed when you sing over the music, trying to debut an actual song.
Well, I don't want it to be I don't want anyone to be ripping the songs out of this stream and shit.
They're public.
Are they thinking, does it just, wait, are you saying
it
it sounds like I am actually in the song, like just being badly mixed? That is really funny. I guess I should have been on screen if I was going to sing over
it's all
it.
dropping on Spotify soon anyway, so people will be able to hear this soon.
Yeah.
We always want people to be able to rip this music. I mean,
Fair
how
enough.
else are we going to get the word spread around? Trixie?
All right. Here's your debut.
Do you know, brother and sister, as you listen to me, I know that every one of you is also my master and my teacher. And do you know that as words of knowledge or wisdom and understanding come from my mouth by God's permission, I know that every one of you is also my teacher. Isn't it a shame that only a few of us make it in this world while the masses have so much to offer? Have you noticed in your own business as things begin to cut down, jobs begin to go away, black stations begin to change their policies, militant spokesman for the hurt of our people?
Daddy fled the right to the U.S. Go farther back in either one and find crackers of whips. I never knew my youth had no real heritage. My parents barely raised them. Best died young, evil persists. I never asked to be the way I am. I believed in my advantages and moved my hands. It's been 20 years already, executed plans, and as it stands, I see how much I lack by never having extra hands. Always moving, I became a person of the land. No community, a vagabond, I formed a band. Crew was family to me because it's all we have. There was me, my mom and dad, my little brothers, and the world. All of what it had to throw at us and all that would unfurl. Taught me how to be a person, far from perfect, just a girl. Looking at the trauma that this nation built itself upon. My hands stained red, black, and cut to the bone.
Where is your head, boy? Do you not see the dead and misled boys in overseas? Do you understand yet the price, the fee, the penalties that the youth face? Freedom isn't free. Freedom isn't free. Freedom isn't free.
White folks own the station, and they get a black man or woman to look over the plantation to make sure that nothing progressive, nothing creative really goes out over the airwaves to our poor suffering people. What I want you to see, and bear with me, brothers and sisters, I want you to see and understand. Black people, I know we are.
Say stars when I'm coming for the moon. It was in me since day one, fool. Had to keep my head up, even when life's doom. Pick through my emotions, that's the new hype. Guess I came through, bursting like a sharp knife. Guess the team number one acted like we number 5. Got the whole crowd mad, go wild. Guess I sided them. I ain't average when it really comes sizing them. Ancestors plight, gonna shift, have a rising spit. Measure up to mine in my head, so I'm riding it. All along the ride, long drag, clip a part of it. Every day I write, empty leg, I ain't right a bit. I'll be always high, hoping I don't fall from it. Find a new lane, my nigga, I've been gone for years. On the road, while you been riding, don't interfere. Cause the way we going up, you gonna think we near.
Where is your head, boy? Do you not see the blue and the red boys dividing the way? Do you understand yet the price, the fee, the cost that we all pay? Freedom isn't free. Freedom isn't. Freedom isn't free. Where is your head, boy? Do you not see the blue and the red boys dividing the way? Do you understand yet?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
I'm so glad I got to hear that in the headphones for the first time. I was really vibing. Mint, your debut, you were in the first hook on that, and at right immediately after the hook, Andrew Engelman said that part was pretty good. Really enjoyed that part. So,
Y'all are
congratulations.
very kind.
Your first review is positive. And Riley also getting fangirled over in the chat. So
He deserves a lot of fangirling.
that hook is definitely going to stick with me in those verses. Dyron just absolutely breaking it down over that whole entire bit. But we've got one more song to play from AFK, or rather, it is AFK, from Telegraphing
Or AFK.
by Sucker Punch. Let's do it. Wait a minute, I hear something else.
It's the gremlin.
Start that over.
Gonna get you.
I guess that's in the song. I didn't even realize.
And so I go AFK. Internet shit don't mean a thing. Where we operate, you could get a ring on your finger, or a bang, or that lingers, or a lifetime of pain, or a lifetime away.
Yeah. You don't know about my internet. Back before that Y2K light, you must be this weird to check. They called it the Wild West, I call it an incel festival. Not the brightest or the best, but bet they felt the rest of fools. Down amid the kids and tools, I only felt uncomfortable. You're here to lick your wounds, but no, that's not the thing to do. We don't know what to prove, and there's no one here to teach. There are the ones who preach, but we ain't good at listening. The blind that lead the blind, deeper, deep into the deep. Your soul's against the reef, bleeding, trying to find your feet. You wanna be my friend? Then we're meeting IRL. Cause I've been AFK since realizing needing the net's an L.
And so I go AFK. Internet shit don't mean a thing. Where we operate, you could get a ring on your finger, or a bang, or that lingers, or a lifetime of pain, or a lifetime away.
They can't steal my style, cause I never keep it old. They wanna see me shine, but I do not got a gold ring. Used to never focus in class, cause God told me. Spread my message and get on their gas, they can't hold me. I can never think about who I'm past, that's the old me. Y'all posing just for a like, but I've been there. Algorithm had me stressed, now honestly I don't care. Cause I ain't never had a time where winning equals don't share.
And so I go AFK. Where we operate, you could get a stranger to remember you, a family that resembles you, or your life thrown away, or your life thrown away. No, sneak this here. Do I prefer face-to-face and on the street? Sure, but I ain't just a meme sir saying let's all be girl. Comedy's cool, but I'm over what I seen there. Build a scene like preachers, but the weak chairs. I'm over E-fame, got more than I need Blair. These songs is Jeep while I sleep deep in my weed there.
Yes, I love that song so much. Holy crap. That was it. That was the
Excellent
Telegraphing
song.
EP.
As
We
I like
heard
to
all
say,
four.
Egg slant.
Egg slant.
Very good.
I'm really excited to be able to have all those in one package that I can listen to over and over again, because I love the songs. I already love these are songs, these particular ones on this EP. Some of them, have been in like the conceptual or planning stages for a long time. So I've heard these hooks a lot. Particularly AFK and Light Gold are hooks that like have been in my head for a really long time, and I've just been waiting for the world to hear them. And it was really transformative to hear that they all became like different, because these were all originally hooks that Riley wrote that were going to be for a Riley and Dave project called Sucker Punch, and then we turned it into a supergroup, and everyone kind of ended up on there, and the songs evolved into something that became new to me again. So it's like this really interesting excitement that I feel over already being nostalgic for like the AFK hook. It's so good. To me, it's like, oh, this was just a hit last year, right? Like, wasn't that just a hit song from 2021 or something that I heard? Like, and then I hear it and I'm like, wait, now it's got all these verses and all this cool shit. Dyron's killing it on there, and you got Riley with the super fast bit at the end that I didn't see coming at all. So I was just like, wow, this song has really come together into like a package. And all the other tracks as well. Again, Light Gold and Pen Only had actually been released as a song before, and then we, fleshed it out, added some more verses. So having all of us together as people who are all like constantly writing short raps, it's really fun to like figure out how we can match up everybody and be like, all right, you what do you got on the subject of AFK? You know, I know you've got something, and then we all just kind of spit on this subject and get a project together, and it's really good. Working together has been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, also I should mention we got another person in the Sucker Punch group, Bad Eater.
Yes.
And it's going to be meeting Bad Eater in the next song. So
Bad Eater,
exciting stuff.
Bad Eater, who is the lead host of the Jittery Zeitgeist podcast, the hip hop review show that me and Vizier and Cranberry Dave and Bad Eater all do together on the ASE Presents channel.
Trixie.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat is saying that there's a popular sample in the last song.
In AFK.
Yeah, it's not. It's not a popular.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Most of the sounds in are
it's like something that's popular, but it's not like an actual popular sample that's used.
Yeah, most of our stuff is totally original from Dave. He actually plays instruments and literally performs a lot of the melody lines on the songs that we have, so they're pretty incredible. But yeah, that was those 4 tracks will be available everywhere very soon. 3 of them are already up on the ASE Presents channel, of course, but we just premiered Where Is Your Mind. That'll be up soon. Where's Your Head? I keep fucking up the title, goddammit. Where is your head? Where is your head, boy? I just gotta remember the hook, and then I'll remember it. Do you not see? But yeah, I'm really happy about all that. I kind of have to pee. And, Mint, I'm gonna let you tell people something. I don't know. Talk about your recording. What was it like to drop the hook on that song? What were your inspirations and motivations and everything, and how did it go?
All right.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Well, the process went like this. Riley had already recorded a verse, and I was listening to what he had recorded, and I was like, okay, I can match that. And so I did. The first time I did like I think a parallel fourth above, so it sounded all wonky. And so Dave had to, legendary hip hop producer Cranberry Dave, you gotta say the full title, just went into like MIDI and just did a piano with the right notes so I could sing along to it, because in my history of bands, I tune to the piano, and so I can match tone, and so it was easier for me to match the tone of the piano, and so I stayed on that tone, and I did a few, I'd say several takes, but it all ended up a-okay. It was a progression. I gotta say, before this, I was actually quite scared of singing publicly. All throughout life, I was like, oh, singing publicly? How scary. I don't want to do that at all. But I got more and more comfortable with it as the years and years got by. And this is like the first time that I'm like finally debuting as somebody who has sang before. We definitely went over a lot of breathing techniques, going and speaking into the mic properly, making sure that whatever P sounds that I make isn't on the mic, so it doesn't pop out the mic, and instead it's just to the side of the mic, so whatever I say is clear, very clear. And overall, I'm very happy with the final product. Legendary hip-hop producer Cranberry Dave does a excellent job at producing music. He's a good producer. He's great. And also, I'm going to, I plan in the future on just like, just rapping on a song on the Sucker Punch. I'm going to be rapping a song.
Hell yeah.
And I'll be album. Yeah, I'll be on the album.
The full album.
I'm a very awkward person. I'm very long-winded too.
It's okay. I needed the time.
I didn't know how long you're gonna be gone. I didn't know how long Trixie was gonna be gone, so I was just trying to like extend it.
All right. Well, typically going to the bathroom takes about 1 minute, so that's your bet for next time.
Okay, that's good.
So I'm being criticized on the state of my room. This is not my room. This is my office. Thank you very much. But There's just a bucket full of posters and stuff, and then there's another bucket with some suitcases on top of it. It looks worse than it is, honestly.
Chat. Someone in chat, Neuro says you didn't notice me singing. I was a backup singer. It was mostly Riley, but I was like backup vocal.
In the first hook with the "Where is your head, boy?" You're doing a sort of
I'm gonna rap like Cardi B and Nicki Minaj next. So
hell yeah. Hell yeah. I want to
practicing
hear
up.
some Nicki Minaj rap from Mid-South.
My rap debut is next month.
We just got a
rapping a lot to
$5
prepare for
super
that.
chat from Kira Lu. Domo arigatou gozaimasu. Trixie, I love you, but how much do I gotta donate to clean that room? XOXO.
$1,000.
Yeah, I mean, if you gave me $1,000, I'll clean the whole fucking house. I gotta clean up my room. It's bad. I've been doing too many live streams and videos and not doing housework and upkeep. At least I've been trying to keep my body in better shape. Because one part of it is stand up, walk around, work out,
make your
don't
bed
let your
every
back
morning, though.
die. Morning is
you gotta
see.
make
What do
your
you
bed every
consider morning? Like, what is
Well-
morning? Just the first time I wake up in a day? Like, what is morning?
It is whenever you wake up. But also, speaking of morning, I have this beautiful. I have this thing. What is it called? It is. I make my bed, and it's on Fansly. It's under.
You made your bed on Fansly?
Yeah, it's under the tag JOI, jerk off instruction. I make my bed, and it's pretty.
Is that just a tag that they have on Fansly? Is jerk off instruction
we're
or?
creating it. Creating
Okay.
it.
So what
It's
does?
the thing that we're doing.
Wait. So it's not instructions on how to jerk off, but instructions for jerk offs. I take it. Or
Okay, I'm here to be like, hello, welcome home, and just like make the bed. Like I'm a waifu, and
so it's like
perspective thing.
simulation.
It's a real thing.
Housewife simulation is what you're doing, basically.
What'd you say, Trixie? Sorry.
Housewife simulation, is that how you would describe?
It's like it's a real thing. It's like a real category.
Well, I don't doubt that, but
It's like a. Sorry, Trixie. What?
I don't doubt that it's real. I'm
Yeah,
trying
it's
to.
like a housewife simulator, pretty much.
Okay, that's amazing.
Amazing.
I've
yeah.
been talking about. Actually, this gives me an interesting topic because I was gonna touch on. I guess I'll do
Sorry,
two.
not family. Fansly.
Fansly.
Correct that.
Fansly is the name of the thing. It's linked in the description. It's where Mint posts her sexy photos and videos, I guess. So, go down there, click that, give money to Mint if you're not going to give it to my super chats right now before this goddamn stream is. You got like 20 minutes left in this stream to give me super chats to get rants about.
Yeah, come on.
Or maybe you'll have 40 minutes if you give me the rants and I go on the rants. But, you got 20 minutes of things I actually have prepared to talk about before we run this clock out. So, and then you'll catch us later tonight on the Monday Night Grift, assuming that it happens.
Is there any instance it wouldn't happen? I mean,
Vito does
Monday.
cancel the show randomly sometimes. So, sometimes it just doesn't happen.
Awesome.
What was I just saying, though? What was I just about to go on about? Oh, yeah. Internet hospitality. I've been thinking about different ways.
The Monday night stream is happening, by the way.
Okay.
So we are going to be on there.
Okay, good.
He did say so.
Okay, good. Perfect. Yeah, we work in a business that I would describe as something like the hospitality business, basically, especially with the videos you're describing yourself making that are like, basically like, I mean, it is a simulation of something for people who aren't getting it or maybe aren't getting the form of it they want, I guess, to be like, yes, I can have this thing in my life that's missing for a small nominal fee.
It's very similar to customer service.
Yeah, my service is rants. I'm very aggressive about my approach to, like, hey, you need to pay me so I can rant because I want you to understand that I've got that energy, all right? I'm going to fucking go off, okay? You need to know that I'm as intense as I purport myself to be. There's
Are you just gonna let this energy go to waste, chat?
Right, exactly.
I mean, come on.
There's a
Give her the money. What's wrong with it? How are you so attached to $5? $5
Right?
ain't shit. Give it to Trixie, the Golden Witch, and she'll give you something very valuable, such as her opinion on something, for very long.
Yeah. Don't let the girls in chat who donate all the time make you look poor. Boys
Everything's
in chat.
a competition.
Yeah,
You gotta
everything's a
donate
competition,
as much money
exactly.
as possible.
All right, this is now the brutal beatdown hour from the two of us. The knock you down, drag you out, literally robbing you like on camera right now. We're fucking staging a robbery right here. We're holding you up.
You speak for yourself.
This is a
Trixie. I'm just
stagecoach robbery.
encouraging it.
Anyway, there's so many rants of yours on YouTube already, but it's the one that it's for you personally. You get your own rant about your own subject. No,
This is a very this is a good form of femdom.
I'm channeling. There's these
financial
advertisements.
domination.
There used to be Kira Lou with $5 says Mint told me to give you money XOXOX, making the others look poor. Heart. Thanks, Kira. Always doing the right thing and putting everyone else in their fucking place. Anyway.
You look dominant in having given Trixie the Golden Witch money. You look better than the other people. So you gotta give, if you want to look better than the other people, you gotta give Trixie the Golden Witch the money.
There's this lawyer from, I assume around here or something. Maybe you've seen, I don't know how broad this practice is, but there's this guy called Lowell the Hammer Stanley, and his whole thing is like he just comes on screen and it's like he's on a green screen and behind him is just like videos of cars like exploding in accidents, like all the like most ridiculous over the top accidents it could be, and he's just screaming, "I'm Lowell the Hammer Stanley. If you've been injured in an auto accident, you call me and I'll squeeze every dollar out of them. 459 cash." And I love those commercials as a kid. Well, he's a lawyer.
Squeeze every dollar out of you.
Sure, but you know, the idea is that you pay him somewhat, and then he fucking wrings them for all it's worth for both of you. You know. Anyway, yeah, I like to see what we do as something like an internet hospitality service, but the things that people want are very complicated. It's hard to tell what will like. Do you need to? Some people want to be bullied out of their money. I want to find those people because that's
your money.
That's my favorite way to get it. But there's lots of other things that people want, lots of little services that can be provided. I actually wrote down a phrase. Shit, I don't know where I put it. That I was like, if you were paying, like if there was an internet host service where like somebody pays you to like come into a call with you, what would be the most like inviting first thing to say? And it would be like, "It's such a pleasure to see you. May I ask how you'd like to be referred?" Like, that's the most pleasant way I can imagine coming into a situation and just being like, "Oh, I already like you." You know, like I already like what's happening. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna find some way to incorporate that into creating some kind of internet host service in the future. Let me know what you think in the chat if you think this is a good idea. There's one last topic I had written down for us to touch on this stream, and it's copium. Massive fucking copium.
Coping, or is it a drug?
No, it's coping. It's people who cope, particularly on the subject of not wanting to call a character trans. Basically, if there's not explicitly a note from the author or a character literally saying like, "I identify as this" in a story, then there are people who will do anything to not have to call that character trans. Like, no matter how much the implication is there, no matter how relatable the character might be to trans experiences, no matter how much, you could read into it, if it's not explicit, then there's still some give that they can have to say, "Oh, that character's not trans." And I'll read you an example because I tweeted this the other day, a comment thread that I thought was fucking hilarious. Hold on, let me go to my media tab here. I forgot how much I retweet every day. I'm in like a different state of mind when I'm on Twitter, so it's like I always forget just how much of it I actually use. Here we go. So the first comment in this thread said, I'd still add ReZero to this mix because Ferris is absolutely trans and that's not up for debate. That was the starting comment. So the response to this is, how is Ferris trans? The response to that was, in the novels, there's a moment showing her inner monologue where she addresses her own reflection in the mirror, stating that she's a beautiful young girl, and the omniscient narrator confirms that these are her true feelings. Sounds pretty fucking definitive to me, right? The response the person gave was, okay, then in the anime they're not trans. So because this moment that makes it extremely explicit that the character is trans only exists in the novel, that means the character from the anime still might not be trans because they didn't have that explicit scene in the anime. It's the same fucking character. It's just, it's the mental gymnastics of looking at that situation and being like, no, that character in the anime, clearly the intentions are different because they didn't have a scene where, you know, the narrator says that these are the character's true feelings because there's not an omniscient narrator in the anime. It's just like, it just seems so obvious to anyone that like in any other case, we cite the manga when we talk about who a character is. Like, it is very common practice to be like, oh, you know, this thing that doesn't quite make sense in the show makes a little bit more sense in the source material. Here's what was actually going on. Then to pick and choose when you're going to care about the source material based on whether or not you have to admit that a character is trans that you like. Just embarrassing. Deeply embarrassing, deep levels of cope. And it's fascinating to me. I kind of get where it's coming from because I do think that all the people who feel this way are really dealing with something. Like, anybody who cares this much about how something is labeled, you're already thinking about it more than a normal person, which to me is an indicator of gender dysphoria. So,
or autistic.
Autism is also a symptom of gender dysphoria. No, it's commonly... I should say gender dysphoria is a symptom of autism, but you know, it's not uncommon for people who, like, okay, for me, my lack of ability to transition all throughout life was very much couched in a brand of autism that is, but it's incorrect. You can't say I'm a girl. How can you say that when it's incorrect? But like every single sign pointed to it being the more logical answer, you know, like just because the logic isn't apparent to you doesn't mean that there isn't logic there. And if I had understood that at a young enough age, I would have transitioned way earlier, you know. But to me, it was just a logic problem, and that's where I think these people are stuck, is that if it's not explicit, if there's not like a clear cut explanation for the way that you feel or the way things are, then it, you know, nothing can be admitted. Everything has to be vague. But it's just like, what is this desperation to not want the character to be trans? Like, to not want to say that the character is trans? Is it because you identify with the character and you don't want to see yourself as trans, but you want to project onto the character as, you know, as someone who just likes to dress as a girl but doesn't actually identify that way? Because if so, I get it. I was very particular
like
when I was in my
literally
teens.
being it, like in
Yeah.
the novel version, but it's like the anime is like, oh, that's not me. They're not clear. I can kind of get it.
When I was in my teens, I was, you know, really interested in characters that are, you know, that either... Well, basically, I was looking for trans characters, and there were lots of what we back then called traps. And I used to love what I called traps at the time because... Like
a trap door? Like a trap door you can fall through?
Exactly. And the most prominent example I could think of is a character named Peppo from Genkutsuo, who, you know, the main character, like, falls in love with this girl, finds out that she's, you know, got a penis and is kind of not sure how to feel about it. And then, you know, Peppo is kind of a minor character.
To feel it in the vag. That's what that means.
Thank you, man. But Peppo is a good character, but kind of lightly touched on in the story, and it was never really explicit. Like, does this character see themselves as a woman or as a man who cross-dresses? Maybe it was explicit and I forgot, but like for me, that question at the heart of it all was very important. Like, does this person identify as a boy who dresses like a girl or as a girl in a man's body, you know, and where do they want to fix this aspect of themselves? That's another part of it. There's a lot of them who are like upset that they look like a girl, and that was not where I was at. So anything that presented it like, oh, I wish I was more of masculine, but I'm actually just really twinky, I'm like, no, that's not what I relate to. So I do get why people want to break down and understand the character's identity, but to have to be so concerned about the terms is really where it gets into the like a little too autism for me territory of like, okay, it's enough to me that the character experiences gender dysphoria at all. Like, if gender is even a part of the conversation about this character, that's trans to me. That's like trans in a broad sense is like, if you're waking up one day and going, maybe I'm going to wear my mom's clothes, that's a trans
Just
experience. Just one day, yeah.
Like, isn't that just like a normal experience? But then, like, if it happens multiple times over and over and over again,
Sure.
then it's a trans experience.
I mean, I would say that, like, again, to me, like, the reason I use the phrase a trans experience is I really want people to open up to the idea that, like, we all kind of get it. People like to convince themselves they don't understand things, and it drives me fucking insane. The point of empathy is that we all basically feel the same, just divided by a few things that are differences in, like, our perspective. But when we have each other's perspective, we should be able to get it. And people will make up reasons for why they don't get it. Like, oh, well, I'm not black, so I can't relate to the black experience. Oh, I'm not trans, so I can't say that I get what gender dysphoria is because I don't feel it every day. And it's like, yeah, but what about that one time you did that thing? You remember, you motherfucker. That's you connecting with it, you know? But people will say, oh, that's something different because I didn't follow through or I didn't become obsessed with it. And it's like, well, that just means that you got an understanding really quick. Like, if you tried it and you didn't like it, that means that you had, like, I don't know, a moment of gender dysphoria, and then it was quickly clarified for yourself, and you went, oh, yeah, actually, this sucks, and I am a man. Cool. You know, but, like, I still don't see that as not being a trans experience. It was just a brief one, you know? That makes sense.
I missed the keyword A.
Right, exactly.
The indefinite article is very important.
Yes, a trans experiences versus the trans experience. You know, this globular idea of something that we've all been through. But, like, you know, when I promoted the manga Love Me for Who I Am, it was very much under the pretense that manga actually does speak to me on that personal level of, like, the characters state exactly who they are and how they feel. The main person, Mogumo, they are like, I'm definitely not a boy, I'm pretty sure I'm not a girl, just call me Mogu-chan, you know? And then you've got the character who's like, I am pretty sure I'm a woman, but I, you know, assigned male at birth, and here's my thing. And, like, the fact that everybody is so declarative about it and it's so clear cut helps a lot. And I think would help with the kinds of people who are in this state where they're still questioning whether Ferris deserves to be considered trans or not. If you're in that mindset, you need to read this manga and calm the fuck down, basically, is my take on the whole scenario. You ever had a trans experience, Mint? You ever thought, I'm gonna be a boy now for a second?
Definitely during part of, like, elementary school and middle school, I was like, oh, I'm gonna, like, cut my hair short because I don't feel traditionally female. All throughout growing up, until like recently within the 2019, 2018, I hadn't, like, worn makeup, and I was wearing mostly, like, guy clothes. It was hanging out with, like, mostly guys. So, like, that was it was, like, a weird experience because, like, I wasn't really friends with a lot of females, so a lot of the time I was like, oh, I'm just, like, one of the guys. But it was, like, it felt weird because, like, on one hand it was, like, you know, female, but on the other hand it was, like, mentally male. But, like, ultimately, I stopped caring. I just was like, I finally figured out that I'm like I'm a woman. So yeah, that's kind of my limited experience.
And what a woman, as you can all discover by going to Mint's Fansly, linked in the description. Or just following the Twitter for the freebies, that lure you in. We got titsmintsalad and titsmintsalad on Twitter.
Genius SEO. We got the tits.
I only linked its in the chat, but it's a very easy click through from the profile of that to the other one. Nero asking, y'all think Nero was in tune with his trans? Definitely. But if you want a full rant on that, you gotta pay for it during a different stream, because this one's about to end. Mint, please promote everything again, even though I just did.
All right. Patreon.com. Well, actually, let me start with the YouTube. So YouTube.com/acpresents. I do daily movie reviews. Today's movie review that's coming out tonight is Shadow in the Cloud. So if you like Shadow in the Cloud or hated it, then you should go check out my review on that. But also patreon.com/acpresents for daily vlogs and extended movie reviews called Mint Salad Saws. And also my Fansly at fansly.com/titsmintsalad.
And of course, you can find me on the ASE Presents channel as well, on the new Void Gazers podcast and the Jittery Zeitgeist Hip Hop Review podcast, right here on Yig Studio, where I do live streams and stuff like this. This is a brand new idea for a show. Basically, something I like doing live streams, and I like leaving my VODs up, but only if I think that they would be something that could work as just a thing you watch. So hopefully this is that. Hopefully this is just a show people will come back to and see as a podcast that happens to be recorded live and answer super chats here and there. But yeah, that's it for the Moé and the Guro episode number 1. Next time I'll be even more fixated on making sure that I Guro pill and Moé pill everyone in the audience. Thanks for watching.
See y'all.
Peace. Oh, and come to Vito's Monday Night Grift at 9 p.m. That's in
Eastern
6
Standard
hours.
Time.
Yeah.
6 p.m.
Eastern Daylight
Pacific
Time,
Standard.
actually.